Let's start this off with a visual aid. Yes, everyone, today's topic involves the USPS, better known as the United States Postal Service. So, welcome to Retired in the World. My name's Eddie, and I'm here today to talk about the United States Postal Service, but more specifically on being 50 years old plus and thinking about starting a career at the USPS, or at the very least, being over 50 and just getting a job at the USPS. Well, people do it all the time. I'm a living example of that. I did it. But is it the right thing to do for you if you're over 50? Uh, I don't know, but let me just share some information with you and you can make your own determination. If you're over 50 years old and you're thinking about the USPS, you have to consider that it is a very physical job. It's tremendously physical. Whether you're a letter carrier or whether you're working in the plant, those are the two I can speak to the most because I had those two jobs. But there are other jobs as well. You could be a truck driver, and there's other positions as well. You could be a rural route carrier and things like that. But I'm going to focus on letter carrier, your traditional mailman type job, and also working in the plant and how that is. So, again, this is from the perspective of someone who's in their 50s or older going to the post office for the first time. So, again, I touched on how it's physical, and it is physical. You're handling whether you're a mailman type letter carrier person or whether you're also in the plant, let's say, you're carrying packages, you're lifting packages. These packages can range anywhere from 1 pound to, heck, they can be as heavy as 70 pounds at times. So you have to deal with that. You're doing a lot of bending, a lot of twisting, a lot of reaching. If you're a letter carrier, you're out on the street and you're delivering, and you're going up hills, down hills. You're in the heat. You're in the snow. It's very physically demanding. So it really attacks your feet first. It tends to attack people's feet first, and then a lot of people it attacks their back, uh, sore muscles, aches and pains, and yeah, over time your body does get reconditioned to the new physical demands that's required in this job, but you're always in some sort of pain. You're always in pain. So that's something that you really, really need to consider. Also, when you enter the Postal Service as a new employee, you will always be it's a second class citizen kind of deal. You are not in the union when you join. You have a different compensation tier that you're on. You don't get it paid as much as the regulars. Those are the people that have been there for a period of time and are part of the union there. You can join the union when you join the Postal Service, but their protections that they offer you are very limited because you haven't done your first 90 days yet. And at any time during the first 90 days, you can get let go. For any reason, doesn't matter. So basically, you can't take any time off in your first 90 days. You have to show up to whatever schedule they give you, and there really isn't a formal schedule. There's just show up this day, show up that day. They say that they're going to give you a schedule so you can plan your life accordingly. In the time that I was at the post office, and it was just under a year, I never really had a schedule that was more than maybe 3 or 4 days out in the future. It just didn't happen. So, and it doesn't really matter. I mean, because even if you had a schedule, if you're in your first 90 days, they're going to work you so much. You're essentially going to have overtime every day. So you might think, oh, overtime, that's good, especially if you haven't had a job in a while. No, it's not good because you're going to be working a minimum of 10 hours every day, including weekends. You're going to be working every Saturday. If you're a letter carrier, you're going to be working every Sunday. delivering packages, specifically Amazon packages. And that's why the day is called Amazon Sunday. So you have no life. It's very physical. And the demands that are made on you really, really start breaking you down physically and sometimes even mentally when you're working your 10th day in a row. You know, they're supposed to give you a day off after 6 days. That doesn't happen all the time. That only happens on occasion. And when it does happen, it's one day they give you off. That's it. So you're going to be working minimum 6 hours a day. I'm sorry, I said that wrong. 6 days a week. That's what I meant to say. And you're going to be putting in 60, 65, even 70 hours a week. And again, if it's the money that you're really wanting, and yeah, you make a good amount of money. The money is nice, but what you have to do for that money, and when you evaluate it with the number of hours you've worked and just all the sacrifices you've made by not seeing your family and loved ones, really, you're not you're not making a whole lot of money if you view all the particulars. So that's something that you also need to know, especially if you're over 50. Now, let's say you make that 90 days. You've sacrificed, you've come to work pretty much every day except for that one day every once in a while you get off. Then after that, it's no big deal. Your 91st day, you don't magically go to work and things change. No, you're still on all the crappy routes that they're going to give you, because as a new person, you get the routes that nobody else wants. Yes, those are the routes with the tremendous hills. Those are the routes that require you to walk, 11, 12, 13 miles a day. Those are the routes that are in the bad neighborhoods with the pit bulls that you have to constantly dodge. There's an element of danger working as a letter carrier that is very real. And it's not something to just blow off. It's dangerous delivering mail in the dark. People get spooked. They think you might be an intruder, a burglar. There are colleagues I've had that had guns pulled on them in the dark. And in winter, it gets dark at 5:30. You still got mail to deliver, because you're going to be working until the mail's delivered. So that means you're going to be working until 8 o'clock at night or longer to get that mail delivered. And you're going to be delivering it in the dark. And you're going to be walking up on properties. And you're going to be getting you're going to be, scaring people. And they can pull a gun, and they do. Also, you're going to slip. You're going to fall. As a letter carrier, I did that for over 6 months, and in the time I did it, I had about 8 times that I had serious falls. 8 times. And I'm a pretty cautious person when I'm walking. It's because your hands are full of mail. You have a bag on you. You have it full. You're off balance. You're going up and down lawns. A lot of lawns are hilly. You're going from lawn to lawn as you go from house to house. You're watching for dogs. You're watching for stuff on the ground. A lot of people don't take care of their property. And it has high grass. It has rocks. It has, you name it, toys out there. And you can slip. You can trip. There's just holes, that in the middle of yards. You can twist an ankle easy in a second. It's dangerous. It is very dangerous. And if you get hurt, you're pretty much done. Okay? The Postal Service will not rush to aid you. In fact, they often, right from the beginning, will assume you're guilty because you did something wrong. You weren't wearing the proper shoes, or some other bullshit excuse that they will give. Okay? So, it is dangerous. Okay? It's the elements, it's the hazards, and again, I mentioned the dogs, but let me mention them again. The dogs. These are pit bulls. And in a lot of the bad neighborhoods that I delivered in, there were pit bulls all over the place, garden houses. And sometimes fences aren't closed. Sometimes dogs lay in wait. I mean, you really, really, really have to be alert when you're delivering mail. Okay? So if you're over 50 and you're trying to just get through your day physically, and you have all these other things to be concerned with, yes, you're going to fall. I almost got bitten 3 times by dogs, but I was able to fend off with my bag. I was able to, I had my pepper spray on me, so I was okay. I didn't get bit. I got scratched once, but not bitten. So let's talk about the leadership at the USPS. Now, the USPS has a bad habit of not promoting people or not hiring people in managerial positions from the outside. They don't bring in new blood. What they do is they promote from within exclusively in the letter carrier ranks and in the plant production ranks. So you say, oh, that's really nice. You know, they're promoting from within, giving opportunity to people. Wrong. What they do is they take people who are pains in the asses when they're working and they're difficult to get along with, and they get promoted into these supervisor positions. Okay? And suddenly now they're going to be a great leader. They're going to lead men and women. No, that's not ever what happens. If they're a crappy employee, just to get them off routes, they actually promote them into supervisory positions. Very dysfunctional. It's a very dysfunctional process. And these supervisors would never last a week in a real corporate environment. But at the USPS, it's a federal job. Hey, they can just last for month after month after month, year after year. Okay? So you're dealing with people that are basically the leadership there, a lot of immature people, a lot of people on power trips, huge egos and they don't deserve to have them, terrible leaders, terrible teachers. And these people are your bosses. And they're the ones that get off on just basically, if they don't like you, they will just give you the crappiest routes to do every day and just constantly be in your grill, constantly. So, if you're in your 50s and 60s and you're dealing with this, how long are you going to really deal with this? You have some, young, talentless, non-leader supervisor telling you, getting in your face, and basically preaching to you. How long are you going to put up with that, really? As an older person, not long. So that's something you really, really have to be prepared for. So let me touch one more minute on the work schedule. You have no life. Your life is the USPS, okay? That's just how it is. They don't care if you have a sick kid at home. They don't care if your grandma passed away. They don't care if your husband got into a horrific accident. They don't care, okay? You need to know that going in. Now, if your plan, like when I joined the Postal Service, my plan was to make some money. I wanted to have a certain amount of money that I made. I wanted to be able to refinance my home. And those were primarily the 2 biggest goals I had. So I basically put up with all of this and, did my best and worked through the pain and through the humiliation at times to meet those goals. And I did meet those goals. So if you go into this with goals in mind, you will have a better chance of succeeding to meet those goals. But again, this will be short term. It is very, 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 yes, 3 varies here, slim that you will, as an older person, survive more than a year at the USPS. If you can get through your first 90 days, that's great. It's not going to change on the 91st day, okay? It's going to take you a full year to 2 years to even become a regular employee. And even when you're a regular employee, you're still low man on the totem pole with the union, okay? So you have to keep that in mind. Things don't magically get better. And then if you think, well, there's a mounted route, I can drive a LLV, a long life vehicle, the post office trucks that you see. And I can deliver mail that way, and that way I don't need to walk 13 miles a day. Yeah, you can after many years of being in the Postal Service. And then what? Now you're in an LLV. Do you know that LLVs are extremely dangerous? They have multiple blind spots. Yes, they have a lot of mirrors on them, but those mirrors are often not in the right places, and they're hard to scan, okay? You're basically driving in a tin box. It's very stinky. You constantly smell exhaust. You're constantly breathing that exhaust in. The LLVs are dirty inside. Very few of them actually get cleaned because the letter carriers who drive those things every day, well, they don't really have the time to clean those things because they have a lot to do on their routes. So basically, when you get into one, usually they're disgusting, and that's going to be your vehicle. Go at it. So no, being in an LLV on a mounted route is no salvation to leaving a walking route if you're a letter carrier. So again, these older folks who are letter carriers see this very quickly, you know, and a lot of them, almost all of them, well, virtually all of them eventually quit. So the older people you see in the USPS on the letter carrier side tend to be people that joined when they were much younger, and now they've, you know, made a career out of it. They have the golden handcuffs on, and they couldn't leave if they wanted to until they have to retire. Okay? I know that I'm being a little bit direct with this video, but hey, it's the reality. That's what I lived. That's what I saw. And especially being in your 50s and 60s, you know, you need to make these decisions quick because you don't want to get irreparably hurt where you'll never get better, even after years after you leave the Postal Service, you know. You don't want to get yourself into that kind of a situation, okay? So you need to make decisions quickly if it's not going to work for you at the USPS. So, let me talk about the equipment they use. I did mention the LLVs. A lot of the equipment that's at the USPS is old stuff, okay? I've talked about their trucks. On the plant side, when you're in the plant, a lot of the equipment they use, very old. A lot of it is second-hand stuff, equipment, you know, processing, mill processing machines, letter processing machines. They don't get installed new. There's a lot of hand-me-downs. There's a lot of sharp edges on gurneys that they have, and these all-purpose containers, these APCs that they put a lot of their boxes in. You just have to really beware of sharp edges and jamming your fingers, and it's just the chance of getting hurt in a production environment is high as well, okay? So you have to always be alert, and, you know, just beware. Always beware of your surroundings because you can easily fall, break a leg, twist an ankle, jam your hand, get your hair caught. There's just so much that can go wrong in a plant environment as well as on the street if you're a letter carrier. So, you know, keep that all in mind. I'm not saying you can't, if you're in your 50s or older, join the United States Postal Service. I'm just saying have goals, have short-term goals, work hard to try to meet them, but at some point, and it will happen sooner than later, you will make the decision to quit and move on. And there's nothing shameful in that. And it's better to still have your 10 digits and the ability to walk and not have any scars from dog bites or equipment, you know, snafus on you. It's better to have that and leave than to, you know, have an injury and leave and then have to deal with that injury for the rest of your life. So those are just some of my thoughts on the USPS. And, you know, just caveat emptor, right? Buyer beware. So you have a good day. Please subscribe. I hope you like the video. Please like it. And hit the notification bell for future videos. And yeah, comments, you know, like if you've gone to the USPS, what was your experience? And am I on target here? Was your experience much like mine? Or was it different? I doubt if it was too much different. But anyways, I'd love to hear what you have to say. So anyways, have a great day, and I'll catch you next time.